You're trying to make your life better. It's 100% customized to you. So what works for me is not going to work for you. But you have to be willing to do a little bit of experimentation to figure out what will work for you.
Look at my watch, April 8th. I hope you're all feeling better than I am as far as what the day and date is. Super excited to be jumping into our daily drop-in, happening every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Central Time, where we're just here to support you. And I'm super, super excited to have one of my best friends in the entire world with me today, Maurice F. Martin. We're going to get into some stuff today. Maurice, how you feeling this morning?
I am great. It's a good day.
It's a good day. I like it. It's always a good day when I get to hang out with you, even if virtually. That's okay
even
as well.
Quite the same, but
yeah, we'll get through it though. So I'm checking in to see who we got in here with us. I see Joe's in here. I see Brienne's in here. Paul, welcome this morning. Make sure you jump into the comments, say hello. Good morning, Brienne. She's almost always the first one in. She's really good at jumping in and saying good morning to us. So good morning, Brianna. Great to see you. If you are listening on the podcast, obviously this was pre-recorded and you're listening now later. If you want to get into the conversation, get into the comments, ask questions to the team or to the guests that we have on, you need to get into the Facebook group. Go to teachbettergroup.com or search Teach Better Team on Facebook and it'll come up as well. Good morning, Dave. Dave, I see you there. You can't hide from me. Good morning, Joe. Alex, what's up, brother? I got some good mornings coming in here. There's Dave, finally. He was just sneaking and watching. Now he's commenting. Good to see you, Paul. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Everyone's jumping in. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting a bunch of messages from my team somewhere else, so hopefully nothing's going on that they need me for. But super excited to be here. So if you haven't been in before, do comment. When you comment on Facebook, try to throw your name in parentheses or somewhere in there so we know who's commenting as well. And if you are listening on podcast, that's awesome. But get in the group. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously, this was also pre-recorded. But make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit like on the video, and then come join us in the Facebook group. Every Monday through Friday, we are here. And then these go out on the podcast, Teach Better Talk podcast, as the bonus episode, and go on the YouTube channel as well. So good morning. Who's on spring break? Brienne's on spring break. Alex is giving Brienne some love for always getting in. Because Alex says because he writes too much. What's that, Maurice?
Break is and how warm they are.
Yes, that's true. Good morning, Ray. Ray's in as well, keeping tabs on us. Megan's in there. Good morning, Megan. So I want to get in. I tweeted out, I've posted on Facebook and stuff that I was bringing in Maurice. I just mentioned he's one of my best friends in the world. I've known Maurice, I don't know how long now, but a while now, and a bunch of different lives that we've challenged each other and went on journeys together and stuff. For those of you who I think a lot of you know, but some of you may not know that, I have a background in the music industry. I had a record label for a while, managed bands, worked with bands, promoted shows. And that's actually how I met Maurice. He was on one of the bands on my label, one of the ones that really carried the name of the label, a band called Winslow. He was the lead singer, the ringleader, the writer, one of the main writers for the group and stuff. And then we just became just best friends from there. Worked in the office, slept in our office a lot, right? On the futon there.
Too many nights.
many, many nights. And had a blast. And, since we've just continued to stay on. And one thing that's really cool right now. And so I want to note, Maurice is not a K-12 teacher. He's a counselor at a drug and alcohol rehab center. Am I saying that right, Maurice?
Yep, you're saying it right. Okay,
cool. But he's got an awesome YouTube channel right now that's a few months old, if I remember correctly, called Today's Inspiration. What's that?
We're in month 2. Yeah.
Just month 2 right now. I feel like you've been doing that longer. Maybe it's because I saw some of the stuff beforehand. That's probably what it was. But it's called Today's Inspiration. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you go subscribe to that. Or if you're watching and listening, you should go. It's a great channel just to get a little bit of pick me up in the morning and just exactly what it is, inspiration in your morning to get through your day. So I wanted to bring Maurice on because I wanted to talk a lot today about self-care, about mental care, about how do we keep ourselves inspired and motivated and positive during these really challenging and kind of crazy times right now. And I think on a good day, in a good week where there is no coronavirus, there is no school closings, this is something that I think teachers still struggle with, that they deal with, the just overworking themselves because of how much they care, and they can't sleep because of that one student they can't reach, or that maybe the political thing that's going on, or whatever it might be, the pressures that they have every day. And I think this is an important topic no matter what, but I think during these times, even more so right now, is really, really important. So, before we get in, I got some questions I want to ask. If you have any questions, I want to make sure that we get those in too. But Maurice, can you kind of give us, I gave us a little bit of backstory. That's my way of telling a story. I want to hear your story. Can you, anyone who doesn't know you or wasn't paying attention to me, because a lot of people just tune me out, I get it. Can you share with us sort of?
I've done that before.
Yeah, you have many times. Can you share with everyone who's watching and listening, just a little bit about yourself, both in personal lives and also in what you do professionally and what you're trying to do?
Sure. So I have kind of an interesting background. Most of the time I was in school, I was a music education major. And then when I actually got my degree, I got it in educational studies. So I'm really an educator at heart. I've been a group facilitator. I've been a corporate trainer. And so all that I do is education. I'm just not in a school building. Um, I was a professional musician, as you mentioned, and was touring and doing all those things. And in the height of my music, I was successful, but very unhappy, always
Mm.
depressed, always anxious, turning to drinking, a lot of other things to deal. And so, in this age, this area of my life that I'm in now, I am constantly trying to help people find just a healthy mindset, a healthy attitude, healthy habits. You'd be surprised the types of people we have in the facility I work in today. So there are people who battle addiction and alcoholism, and many of them are teachers, actually. So it's people who pour their heart and soul into their profession, and they love what they do, but it drains them. They're pouring everything they've got
Mhm.
out, and they don't have many positive things pouring back in. And so my main job is teaching people how to love themselves, how to care for themselves daily, how to unwind, or how to be in just a better mental place before you go to work. And so I think that that is all very, very relevant, not only in the midst of a virus like we're in right now, but also just when everybody goes back to school. How do you get healthier every day just to handle the daily chaos?
Yeah, I love it. So, real quick, I want to say good morning, Joe. Good morning, Catherine. Paul commenting, thanks for that. So, you got to share with us also. I didn't touch on your beautiful, beautiful family that you have. So, can we give them a little shout out? I think.
Yeah. So I have a beautiful wife, Ashley, and then my baby girl
Oh,
today. Today is her birthday. Uh,
today.
this is birthday number one.
Wow.
I have kind of a young family,
Mm.
and life is beautiful right now. I remember when you started having babies, and that was exciting. And this is now my turn. So
Yeah, and we're doing a virtual birthday party, which is super.
birthday party
Which
today.
I'm looking at as an exciting, cool thing that we're doing, not a because of the situation. I think it's a fun situation. It's gonna be fun.
Jeff on camera for
Yes,
sure.
for sure. So let me ask you, sort of in this time, with everything going on, there's so much sort of anxiety, stress, unknown, fear, right, going on right now, potentially panic.
Mhm.
And there's information we're not sure. Well, do we believe it on this side or that side, or from this source or this source, or why are there shortages in supplies? What's going on? Is it going to hit my town? All this stuff going on, and
Mhm.
also teachers are also, how do I take care of my kids? How do we take care of our community? How do we take care of all these things? I've also got to teach my kids at home. All this going out. What are some of the conversations you're having now with people you're talking with on how do they deal with this situation? How do you process this? How are we, like, where are we going to mentally to get through this stuff right now? How are you working with the people you talk with daily on that?
Great question. So the main thing that I always talk to people about is holistic health. So it's your mind, your body, your spiritual health. So the real question is just regardless of what stories you're hearing, what's the truth and what's not, are you being healthy and proactive physically? Are you being healthy and proactive mentally? Are you being healthy and proactive spiritually, right?
Hmm.
So physical health, that's kind of the easiest one, I guess, because right now they're giving us so many precautions. So we know about washing our hands and not exposing ourselves and keeping social distance. And so that's all important, and you have to make sure you do all of it. There's also, are you eating well right now, or did you go home and start binge eating because of your stress? You know when you're a little bit off
Yeah.
physically. Go for walks, do things that are healthy for you physically right now. The second thing that we focus on is the mental health. And this is honestly what many people skip over. So you are very, very good at doing the mental gymnastics as a teacher to teach other people, but you don't spend a lot of time decompressing on what have I gone through in my last day or my last few days? How is it making me feel? Am I
Mm-hmm.
mentally fatigued? And so we spend time talking about things like journaling and writing down your thoughts and your feelings. Sometimes teachers and other people need like to do affirmations in the morning. Do you need a reminder about who you are and what you bring to the table? Sometimes it's a gratitude journal where you sit down and you just write down what you're grateful for, and it might help you if you're thinking, "Man, I'm disconnected from my kids. I'm at home, and right now my own kids are driving me crazy. Everything's kind of stressful." If I sit and do a gratitude, it helps me think about, well, what am I grateful for? And it gives you a fresh perspective. And then lastly, there's that spirituality piece. And when I say spirituality, I mean, first and foremost, you connecting with you. Um, Over your last few years of teaching, it's probably been very, very fast paced and nonstop. That's how life works. This almost feels like life just hit pause. So this gives you a chance to recalibrate with yourself. Are you still teaching the way the classes that you want to teach? Do you need to go back to school? Are you in a place where you feel like you're in purpose and that you're still passionate, or has your passion gone out? Those types of things are things that it's really important and help to spend time doing with some of this extra downtime that you may have while you're home.
Yeah. That's great stuff right there. Morning, Penny. Good to see you. So the journaling part, I want to mention something I mentioned this a million times on Teach Better Talk, but because we get into things like that, but I use an app called the 5 minute journal. And it's I think it costs $5 or something, but I've had it for several years. And two things that it asks in the morning it's actually asked 3 questions in the morning, prompts me, and the first thing it asks is, what are you grateful for? What are you thankful for today? It's 3 things you have to put in there, right? And that's an immediate, what am I thankful for today, right? I woke up. What is it that I'm happy about? It asked me for affirmations. So then I write my affirmations out. And then the last thing it asks is like, what will make today awesome? So you write out things. But then at the end of the day, it asked, what are 3 amazing things that happened today?
Mm-hmm.
Which I love, because it's like, it's not, hey, what was horrible today first? It was what happened that was awesome today, right? And you have to really, some days I have to think long and
Yeah.
hard about, well, what did happen today? Did anything good? Oh, okay, I got 3 things. And then it does ask me, what could have made today better, which I love is a nice reflection, but it asked me first to give that positive reflection on the day. And then I look at my reflection, how I can improve. So I love affirmations. I think they're incredibly important. I think if you can speak them aloud every day is really powerful. It's a little weird at first. It takes some time, especially if you don't explain to your family what's going on and they can hear you. But they are really powerful because you're saying them. I like that the app makes me, I have to type it out every day. So if I'm not saying it aloud, I'm always typing it out. So that's really, really powerful. I tout that all the time, that type of stuff. But I think
The big thing, I just wanted to jump in on that. So you talked about it being weird. One thing that people need to know is if you decide to do a little bit more self-care, it's probably going to feel a little bit uncomfortable for you if you haven't done it for a while. I think one of the keys to growth in life is being uncomfortable. And if you think about how most teachers are, most of them are teachers and parents, right? So
mhm.
you a lot of time planning ahead of time for your students. What do they need? And then you reflect after class. How did it go? What do I need to alter and change? You do the same thing as a parent. You come up with a daily game plan for them, and then you are willing to alter that, review it afterwards, and make sure your parenting style is matching your actual kid that's in front of you.
Mhm.
Most of us don't take the time to do that for ourselves, though. We invest all of that energy into our craft and into our family, but we don't do that for ourselves. And it can leave you feeling a little empty and burned out sometimes. So this isn't a practice people should do just because they're at home or just because of the COVID-19. This is just healthy habits that people should have incorporated in their life. So I think you giving that example is perfect. That's just something that should be a part of life, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So Adam says blogging has been such an essential part of my process during all of this. At least once a week, I write great release, and Adam's writing some really awesome stuff too, Adam. So I'm really happy that it's a release for you, an essential part of your growth, but also like very, very valuable for the community that you put it out to. So that's awesome. Um, So that's a really cool thing. I love seeing that. I was gonna ask, so let's go through. Would you mind sharing? Do you have a specific? I'm assuming you do. Morning routine that you go through to get yourself in that mental state for that you do reflection in the morning, or is yours in the evening? Do you do both? What's sort of your routine?
I have to do both.
You have to do both.
Yeah, I really do. So I have 10-hour days and I have a 1 hour drive to work. So my day is kind of perfect because I use my drive time as my unwinding time or my preparation time. I personally am real big on meditation and prayer. If you're in my car, there's like really tranquil music playing and it's very relaxing and calming. And I'm either looking out the window and kind of reflecting and getting my thoughts together as I'm driving, or I'm in prayer as I'm driving. I'm kind of a spiritual person, so that's how I tend to approach it. Um, and then my evening times, it's a lot of reflection on my day. I have a couple people that I turn to speak to in the evenings if I'm ever just feeling a little bit burned out or feeling a little bit overwhelmed. People who, including my wife, of course, who I can talk to just kind of woosah, let the day go. But you figure it's just like a teacher, right? Some of these teachers, they are dealing with, it's not just teaching the subject they teach, but they have the heart and soul of the child in front of them. And sometimes they take the children home with them because of what everybody's going through. And so you need to just kind of say, what did I go through today? How did it impact me? How did it make me feel? And then I love the serenity prayer. I don't know if you guys know the serenity prayer. It's something that's real big with, in the addiction community. It's grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I try to always figure out what are the things that are getting to me that maybe I just need to say, look, there's not much I can do about it. I just need to find some peace in this area. And then what are some things that I can make action items for tomorrow so that in the morning when I reflect my next morning, I know this is a necessary action item I need to prep my mind for. So that's all kind of a part of my.
Now, do you journal, or is it typically just a mental thought process that you go through? Do you actually write it out or speak it into something, or
journal. I do voice journaling.
you voice it? Okay.
So what I do is I just turn on the recorder on my phone and I say whatever I need to say. Sometimes that involves yelling and screaming to get out all of my energy. And then, a lot of times I'll delete it if I said some crazy stuff in it. But it's funny. I am a writer, but when it comes to de-stressing, I have to speak it to really get the energy out. And then I'm a walker, so I like to go outside and go for walks. Nature really helps me reconnect these days, so I try to go out in nature and just reflect and kind of balance out that way as well.
Gotcha. Good morning, Andrea. Good to see you. Becky, good to see you as well. I just want to mention, if you're listening on the podcast, obviously this was pre-recorded. Make sure you get into the Facebook group at teachbettergroup.com. If you're on YouTube, make sure you just subscribe to today's inspiration. It's down in the notes below to connect with Maurice on his channel. And then make sure you get over to Facebook too, so you can get in this conversation every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Paul's giving us some stuff here. So, but the caregiver must. So Paul mentioned earlier this. Where is it at? The caregiver archetype is always wary of being selfish, but the caregiver must begin in self or risk entering in a shadow expression of the archetype. This presents the martyr. Look at all I am doing. The suggestion of journaling this morning is so important. List all you are doing. Thank you for that, Paul. Really appreciate you just sounding that out with us and everything. Brianne already grabbed some from this morning, saying voice journaling is a great idea for reflection. I haven't tried that yet. I do that. I don't do that's not like my daily routine because the app is really my routine, but I do enjoy just dropping a voice note to myself. I do it a lot. I do it a lot for like reminders and when I'm like just thinking through the process. But every now and then when I'm doing that, I actually end up venting a little bit. And I was smiling when you were saying about like the screaming because sometimes I get like I'll yell at myself via that voice. And it's funny because then I'll go back and listen to it. And I think I'm listening to like a business idea or a creative thing. And then I get to the part where I yell, I'm like, oh yeah, well, don't do that again. Like Jeff's gonna get mad at you. So I really like that. I think I'm considering maybe switching to a voice because I enjoy that. I think the uncomfortableness of speaking out loud is really powerful and in so many ways. So I think that's a really cool one. So Brianne, let us know how that's going over the next few days if you're going to try it.
Please.
So we mentioned a couple times. I kind of alluded to it, and I've mentioned people to go subscribe. I saw Dave already subscribed to your channel on YouTube, which is Today's Inspiration. Can you give us the sort of the 1,000-foot view of what the channel is? Why'd you start it? What are you looking to do? What can people find there? Who should listen or watch? And you can listen or watch, in my opinion. So tell us about your channel a little bit.
Sure. So, I've kind of realized for several years that deep down I'm a motivational, inspirational speaker, but I was just too afraid to get started. And so I started writing a book called Embrace, and my book is just all about how to embrace the moment you're in, how to embrace today, because it's the gift. And so I'm just about done with it. And I said, okay, I'm finally ready to start this YouTube channel. And so that it's just really to give you perspective. Sometimes it's this perspective about how to overcome the fear that you're feeling in a given day. Sometimes it is to give you the perspective about, hey, have you actually been doing the hard work, or have you been running away from the hard work in your life? Sometimes we do all the hard work for everybody else and not for ourselves. And so there's a lot of that. Now I'm a pretty spiritual person, so a lot of the videos have more of a spiritual tent or a Christ-centered tent. But some of the videos that I'm making are just inspiration for inspiration's sake. I would say that if you are a spiritual person in any way, you'll probably resonate with the channel. If you're a person who is just open to hearing good, positive information, that's another way to do it. One thing that is helpful for me is if you jump on a video, you hear it and you think, hey, I would love to hear him talk about fill in the blank. All you got to do is leave it in the comments. I will literally make a customized video for whoever asks me for stuff, because I understand the beauty of one person, right? So if I can help one person in a day, give somebody fresh perspective, give them some positivity, help them with maybe the courage to start writing their own book, the courage to go to counseling or therapy the way they need to, or encourage them like we're doing today to, hey, it's time to get started with that blog or with that journaling, or to just sit down and breathe today. Have you breathed lately? Have you just have you just sat down on a couch by yourself, not with anybody else, and took in some oxygen and let it go and said, I'm okay, I'm alive, I'm here, it's okay. And those are all the types of things that I try to just influence people to do, encourage people to do. The goal is that by hopefully by next week, I'll just be doing Monday through Friday every day. Right now I'm doing about 3 episodes a week, but I'm hoping every day you'll be seeing something.
I've enjoyed them. They are obviously, yeah. There's scripture in there. You're reading stories and sharing stories, but I think the way you share it is great. I do not believe that you do not need to be religious to get something out of it, to enjoy it. I don't know if you need to even consider yourself spiritual to get something out of it. I think you do need to be open, because obviously you have to listen to what you're saying and then put it into your own life and take it. But if you can do that, it's super powerful, regardless of your beliefs or non-beliefs or anything like that. So I highly recommend it. There's also, me personally, as a friend and everything, I really enjoy the fact that you're also infusing music that you're creating in the background of the videos and stuff like that too. So really great. Paul says, remember too that poetic forms are good for the spirits, multi-genre, multi-form. Look at Michelle Hazelton's hashtag 100 days of notebooking. So that's something to look up. And then he also offered to be happy to beta read Embrace. So you got someone that will maybe help read there. So appreciate that, Paul. It's awesome reaching out. Good morning, Grant. What's that?
I will take Paul up on it.
All right. Well, I'll make sure you guys get connected. Brandy, good morning. Barb, good morning. Good to see all you. If anybody has a question, throw it in here. If there's something, I don't know if there's anything you're struggling with, anything you're trying to get through, if you're curious on how Maurice would approach that as a counselor, as someone who works with people that are struggling all the time, please feel free to share that in. I do want to mention a lot of the stuff we have going on. Obviously, we do have these daily drop-ins Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. here. This is all for you during this time. We're also taking these and then they get thrown up on Teach Better Talk podcast as a bonus episode. So we now have 7 episodes coming out every week, because we're still doing our 2 awesome interviews with amazing teachers every week. These are also going on to the YouTube channel, so you're seeing that, the video version, if you want that over there. And while you're over on our YouTube channel, we have some really awesome new tutorial videos that are all about tools that you can utilize right now during distance, virtual, remote learning, however you want to call it. We've also been working hard with our amazing guest writers over at teachbetter.com. We're still putting out 4 blogs a week. And right now they're really tailored to the times and the struggles that are going on right now. We've got a whole bunch of new downloads that are all connected to what's going on. We got a brand new course led by Ray Hewitt about supporting a virtual classroom. We still have Master Chat going on, which is tomorrow night, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. That has been just on fire the last several weeks, which is incredible. So if you want to go in there and connect on Twitter with hundreds of educators from all over the world, it's a great time to do that. We're really tailoring our topics and questions to the current situation of things as well. And then something really fun that we're doing next week, if you are an admin, we're doing Administrators Mastermind next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. You can sign up at teachbetter.com/mastermind to get in there. If that goes well, we'll probably do something the same for classroom teachers, maybe support staff. We'll kind of go all around there, but we have got a great group right now lined up for that. So if you're an admin, get in there. If you're just joining us, the gorgeous man with the hair game that's so much better than mine right now is my good friend, one of my best friends in the world, Maurice F. Martin. We were just talking about your YouTube channel, today's inspiration, and going through things. I'm curious if you work with people every day that are struggling from a variety of different things. And I know it's in the realm of drug and alcohol addiction, but it's not always just about the drug and alcohol. It's what led them there, what's kept them there, what's holding them back and stuff. So I'm curious right now, with everything going on, are folks dealing with, is it like just is it a second layer? It's got to be more difficult now with the anxiety and the stress and stuff. So are there certain things that you're walking them through as they reflect? Because I'm sure not everyone agrees to or accepts sort of that self-reflection affirmation as easily in the morning. So what if I'm someone who maybe I've tried it and it just didn't work? It's just not me. I don't get it. I'm not a spiritual person. I'm just very cut and dry. I don't like telling myself I'm amazing and stuff like that. How do you break through that? But if I'm open to hearing this, I'm open to thinking about it. I just don't think it works for me. How do I break through that mental barrier of, that's not actually going to work for me? The world's just kind of crazy right now, and that's how my life is. I'm giving you a challenge right now.
There's a couple things that jumps out at me when you say that. So one of my mentors in life, he always says, when you talk, don't give a humble brag, because everybody hates it. So if you're going to brag for real. So I have changed a whole lot of lives in the last couple of years. And one of the reasons is this, that I challenge people. I say, okay, there's the things in your life that you have that are already there, that you're comfortable with. Is it working? So when you lay your head down at your pillow at night, are you at peace? Do you feel happy? Do you feel content? Do you feel motivated? Do you feel all those good things we look for? If your answer is yes, that you can check all those boxes, keep doing what you're doing, don't change your routine. If every night you feel a ton of stress, anxiety, depression, frustration, if you dread going to work even though you love your kids, if and maybe it's not the kids there, it's the administration, it's the politics, whatever you're dealing with. If you find yourself pent up, you are just in knots because life is just too frustrating and too stressful, then you already know you need a change and that what you're doing isn't working. Is there really anything that you're not willing to do to get better if you really want to be happy in your life? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And, the best teachers, they experiment. They go to teaching workshops. They learn people's methods that teach better, different ways of approaching the classroom and classroom management. And then they experiment a little bit. And sometimes they can't do exactly what the other teacher did. They take pieces and parts of it and incorporate it into their life. To me, that is what I try to teach people to do. When you're trying to make your life better, it's 100% customized to you. So what works for me is not going to work for you. But you have to be willing to do a little bit of experimentation to figure out what will work for you, if that makes sense. So whenever a person tells me I've tried that once before and it didn't work, I say, think about anything that you've done in your life. If you go shopping for a couch, you usually sit on 3 or 4 couches before you find the right couch. If you go shopping for a car, you usually drive a couple cars, see which one feels the best, looks the best, which one is really me in that car. I like to use drinking as a great example. When I was drinking, I would try different beers and then some different whiskeys and then some different tequilas to figure out what's the right for me. I feel like when you're trying to get mentally healthy, physically healthy, spiritually healthy, You got to try some things and figure out again, give it another shot. Give it 2 or 3 chances. There's a difference between meditating in the dark and sitting out on your back porch and watching the leaves as they blow. It's a completely different experience. There's a difference between writing down a journal and screaming your journal or speaking your journal. There's a difference between, you get what I'm saying, just that there's so many options that are out there that you have to at least explore the options, try some things, and then figure out what works for you. Many of the people that come into my office, they are business people. They're entrepreneurs, business owners, teachers, mailmen. They're every kind of police officers, firefighters. They're every kind of position you would think of, and they're there with me. And so what that tells me is that hardworking people struggle sometimes. People with good character struggle sometimes. It's not always about drugs and alcohol. Ask yourself, have I gained 10, 15, 20 pounds over the last couple of years because I'm stress eating? Am I always feeling like I am one class away from passing out because my stress level is so high and my anxiety level is just always above my head? You know when you're off. You need some fine tuning in your life. It doesn't mean you're broken. It just might mean you need a little fine tuning, just a little change here and there in your life, so that you can get more balanced and just feel better. See, when you're teaching better, you should also be feeling better. You should have a feeling of growth and evolution and health every day. There's something that you should have added to your own life, just like you're adding to the lives of your kids, the lives of your family, fill in the blank, the lives of your friends. What are you getting out of your day? That's not selfish to think that way. You have to be growing or else you feel like you're stuck. And sometimes you were growing, but you couldn't see your growth because you were staring at all of your anxiety and your fear and your depression, right? So sometimes I got to do things to just kind of like open up the window, see the day for how it really is, get some fresh perspective, and then I can move on in a better way. Hopefully I explained that well. So
no, you explained that really well. I love the couch and the car mentality. I love the drink mention and stuff like that. Everything that makes a lot of sense. And it plays right into, we work with teachers all over the country, and it's constantly tinker with it, test with it, figure it out, right? I use sort of a sailing analogy, which is weird because I don't sail, but I do, about how when you're sailing, you're constantly adjusting your sails. You're constantly tinkering, right? Because you're trying to find the flow for you and the thing. And it's the same thing you mentioned, like when you're in your classroom, you're constantly testing out new technology, new methods, new ways of saying things, new ways of phrasing things. When your students don't understand, or that one student doesn't quite get it, you're phrasing it differently. You're trying to figure it out. And that's all part of finding your voice that's going to work best with your classroom. And I hope if you're listening, you're watching, whatever, that you're hearing what Maurice is saying is, take that same thing and put it into your personal life, into your own health, into your own mental health, physical health, everything, your own happiness is tinker with it, right? Test it out, figure out what works, what doesn't work. You got to go through a lot of stuff that doesn't work, right? And you got to tinker with it. And I love that you said the biggest thing is I'm not going to say it as well as you did, is that every day there should be something. What did you add, right? And that plays, and I'm not sure if you even meant to do this, but you did. That plays right into the teach better mindset as being better today than you were yesterday, better tomorrow than you were today. And the biggest thing that we always drive home is like, look, one, we're not saying be perfect, because that's just not it. And we're also saying that you're not already awesome. We're just saying be better. Like, we never like to go into school and say, hey, you're not a great teacher. We say, hey, you're an awesome teacher. Here's some ideas that might help. Let's test them out and see what makes sense for you. It's the same thing in your life, right? It's not about being perfect and being happy all day, every day, happy-go-lucky. That doesn't happen. Even people who come off that way, they have their bad days. They struggle. Even Maurice, who talks about happiness and being, he's right there, right? That guy, right? You still have your bad days. That's why you have those people that you can go to, those things that you do. But also, that's why it's really important to have that reflection or your system, whatever that is that works for you, to be connected to you. I love that earlier you said, you're talking about spirituality with yourself. Like, it doesn't have to be with anyone else's God or religion or anything like that. It's with yourself first, right? And that constantly trying to find something. What did you add to yourself today? Yourself to be better. And you said it very early on, and we say it. We talk about it a lot. Teachers talk about it a lot. But I think it's always worth saying again and again and again. Is focusing on yourself is not selfish, because you can't give fully to everyone else, your students, or your staff, if you're an admin, or your community, or whatever it might be, if you're not full, if you don't have anything in your cup, if you're drained down. So what are you adding every day to grow, to be stronger, to be happier, to have more in your cup so you keep pouring in? So I love that. Really, that's just
I want to
good
jump.
stuff. Yes, jump.
You were talking a little bit about the ship and the sail analogy, and now you're talking about the water, your cup being half full, half empty, right? So I think this will make a difference in somebody's life. So think about, you've got a bucket and you're always pouring from your bucket into everybody's cup, right? That is the life of a teacher. Sometimes it's a very thankless job because parents don't always do their role in things, or sometimes administrators don't appreciate you. We all know the hardest parts of being a teacher, at least in concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing about the water that's inside of my bucket. If my bucket is too hot, it will fail to be the liquid it used to be, right? So water, if it was water, my water will evaporate and I will lose some of my substance, some of the best parts of what was in the bucket. But if I grow too cold because I'm always trying to protect myself because everything is always so stressful, now my water becomes frozen and I don't have all my best stuff to pour out because some of it is stuck in the bucket. So what I need to find is balance of not too hot, not too cold, so that I'm passionate, but not so passionate that it's actually making me overload and be overwhelmed and just go crazy. And then I have to be guarded enough that, I don't take everything from everybody and absorb it all. But I can't be so cold that I don't give love, and because teachers love, man. Teachers love
Mm-hmm.
hard. That I can't be so guarded that I can't give love to my students, or love to my subject, or love to my career. And so I think it's about the right temperature. That's how you flow the best. You're not going to flow with the sails if the water is icy. That doesn't work out very well. Ask the Titanic, right? You hit an iceberg and there you go. All bad. All bad. The band played when the ship went down. I would have been in the band at that point. But you just have to ask yourself, am I at a nice temperature right now in my career? And that is so important. And if you're not, then ask yourself, what are the little things I need to do? The other thing I wanted to jump in with is, you talked about how, you're not going to have a perfect day every day. Let's face it. I love sports. Okay. So I'm a big sports guy. You watch a professional baseball player play. He hits the ball 3 out of 10 times. He has a Hall of Fame career. You watch a great basketball player play. They miss half their shots. They're Michael Jordan. Many of us in our careers, when we have a bad day or a bad couple days, we have a tendency to beat ourselves up. And we think, well, because I didn't do this, I deserve to have a bad day. I should have done better. I should have prepared better. And we have all this guilt and shame. What if you took all the energy that you're pouring into guilt and shame and you poured it into, how do I just get better tomorrow? Sometimes we're only looking at the bad things and we don't see the good things that we added in our day. It happens all the time. And so this is just, when we're talking about reflection, it's just ways to look at the same room differently, or the same you in the room differently. So that hopefully that helps somebody.
Oh, it helps a lot. I love the temperature, the water temperature of the bucket. I haven't heard that before. That is so much better than my stuff.
Trademarked. It's mine.
it's okay. Again, that's fully copyrighted. Got it. Paul mentioned that he's a veteran sailor. Essential to the ship's maintenance and upkeep is the often overlooked and underappreciated bilge. What needs to be flushed? What needs to be sent away? So important. Yes. I mean, I love it. Andrea, thanks for commenting there as well. I'm super happy that I got you on this morning. Really excited. If you're, we're gonna let Maurice go here. We're gonna wrap up for today here in a minute. If you have anything you want to say or get a comment in, or a question, or a challenge, anything like that, please jump in right now and get that in. Do you want to mention, if you're listening on the podcast right now, make sure you get over to Facebook, get in the group. It's teachbettergroup.com, or just search Teach Better Team on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, leave comments on YouTube. Let us know what's going on. Hit like, hit subscribe. And regardless of whether you're watching live right now on Facebook, watching later on YouTube, listening on the podcast, make sure you go find today's inspiration. That's Maurice's YouTube channel, Maurice F. Martin. It's there, and I'll make sure that it's in the the notes of both the podcast episode and the YouTube channel or the YouTube video as well. Get on there, and Maurice, you said three episodes every week right now, potentially bumping up to 5 soon.
But if you're gonna be, starting next week, 5. Listen, 5. Hold me accountable. 5.
Ooh, we are all hearing that. Everyone watching here and listen now, you got to go check it out and make sure you get next week and hold them to that 5. I love it. Thank you for everyone jumping in there. Paul, appreciate all your comments. Brian, thanks for jumping in. And let's see who else got in there. Adam earlier was jumping in, and Dave and everyone who's watching. Really appreciate all of you. We'll be back tomorrow morning with I got to look who's on with us tomorrow. Give me 2 seconds. I should know this, and I don't. Tomorrow morning, Ray will be back here live. Oh, with Joe Sage. I think Joe was watching earlier. Joe is an amazing principal in Minnesota. That's how we have to say it when we talk to Joe, who's just on our podcast. Amazing guest, really great guy. So they're going to be back here tomorrow morning. And then on Friday, I believe Chad is going to be jumping in Daily Job. We got a lot of awesome guests lined up next week as well. Keep subscribing, letting us know what you need from us, whatever we can do for you. We want to. We're going to continue to create the content that you are telling us is valuable. So keep letting us know what that is. And if there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. I know that I can speak for Maurice right now when I say if you need anything from him, reach out. Maurice, best way to get a hold of you, social media channels, where are you at?
Sure. So you can pretty much find me everywhere at Maurice F. Martin. So youtube.com/Maurice Martin, facebook.com/Maurice Martin. You've figured out Instagram/Maurice Martin, Twitter, all that good stuff. If you guys need me via email, you need to talk to me directly, mauricefmartin@gmail.com. And if you guys reach out to me, I'd be more than happy to talk to you, whatever. I'm a life coach too. So if anybody literally is like, hey, I've been having a rough couple weeks or whatever, and I just need some positive motivation, inspiration, you can literally email me, and I would be more than happy to reach out to you and pour into you. That's where I'm at right now. I had a really good mentor, best friend named Jeff Gargis, who told me at the beginning of my journey that I need to just be willing to give things away and just make a difference. So that's where I'm at in my career. I just try to help people as much as possible. So if you need me, let me know. If nothing else, jump on my YouTube, watch a video, and leave comments for me. Hey, we need videos on this, and this, and you'll be surprised how quickly they come out.
I love it. I appreciate you, brother, a whole lot. Appreciate everyone watching. We will see you back here tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Well, I guess it's Ray, so 7 a.m. Central Time tomorrow morning with Ray and the amazing Joe Sage. So, Maurice, thank you so much. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate all of you watching, commenting, listening, subscribing, doing all of that. We do all this for you. We appreciate all of you. Have an amazing rest of your day. And in the words of my good friend Chad Ostrowski, stay awesome.